You are now tuned into Flippin' the Birds, a Philly Sports Network podcast.
What's going on, Eagles fans? Welcome all to episode 7 of Flippin' the Birds. I'm Brian Cameron alongside Chris Infante, and we have a special guest today, Mr. Eagle Sessions himself from 4th and Jawn, Gayle Saunders. How are we feeling, guys?
Feeling good, man. I'm just happy to be here with you guys. You guys are doing great things. You guys are on and popping. I'm excited to be here.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. How you feeling, Chris?
We're excited to have you on, Gayle. You know, we finally met you in person at the game on Thursday. That makes a check off our bucket list. But yeah, you know, if you're an Eagles fan, you don't know who Gayle is, you don't know who 4th and Jawn is, then you're not an Eagles fan. It's simple as that. So we're very honored to have you on. That you agreed to come on and just talk football, man. This is a great thing for us.
Yeah, it's Birds 24/7 for me. It's something that I was raised to do by my dad. He's as crazy as I am, but I could do this all day, every day. Let's do it.
It's a blessing, man.
Yeah, you say that. I'm actually the first to start this from my lineage because my dad was NYPD in the Bronx, so he never had time to really watch football. He says he's a Giants fan because he's from the Bronx and in New York and everything. But I'm
not everyone's perfect. No, not everyone's perfect.
I know. You still gotta love them.
He wants to complain. He wants to say to his buddies that I'm adopted, but you know,
damn.
He can't deny that we're twins. But I'm bringing this passion that I have, and my daughter, she's gonna be the biggest Eagles fan that everyone's gonna see. So I'll make sure that when she grows up, she's gonna be like, I'm an Eagles fan just like my dad. My dad will curse at the TV.
There you go.
That's it.
So we have a lot to cover today. Eagles finalized their 53-man roster with some surprising cuts and some not so glamorous keeps. Who's your surprising cuts?
Well, I mean, you could say Clayton Thorson. I mean, he was bad as it was, but just, you know, I think it's just in terms of like, you know, the organization cutting a 5th-round pick is not a good look. You know, like I was thinking they would keep him around just to save face, or at least keep him on the practice squad. So, you know, he's actually with the Cowboys as we speak.
Oh,
and then another guy, you know, Smallwood, a guy who's just been. I would say he's like sneakily productive in a sense where he's a utility guy. Like you can use him. He's a great guy to have on the back end of the roster. I mean, a lot of Eagle fans were like, "Yo, get him off the roster." Yeah. But I think when you have a guy that can do so many things on special teams and give you a 3-down type of skill set, not the greatest, but for a back end roster guy. But then also the Eagles have 2 tight ends on this roster. Right? I know Alex Ellis is floating around the practice squad right now. I think that's the most interesting thing. I know they're probably going to look around the league for another tight end somewhere. But I think that for the most part. All right, well, Trayvon Hester got released.
That's true.
Yeah, Mr. Double Doink.
You know, I think that's one guy that is probably going to get some love out there. But other than that, I think those are the key ones that stuck out to me.
I think for me it was Greg Ward because they were playing him so much more. I mean, I know it's a telling sign when they're not playing too many guys out in preseason. That's a telling sign that maybe they got a roster spot hooked up that they don't want them to get hurt. But I just feel like Greg Ward was just making so many things happen out of nothing. Like I always say to Brian, like he's making chicken soup out of chicken, you know what. You know, he was catching screen passes and making it 12-yard gains, and he looked really good. And Mac Hollins, the only thing he was showing that he was alive. And then
it's a wild thing right now.
But
I mean that one move is something I've been like thinking about for the last probably 4 weeks. Because I knew it was going to come down to like probably 5 wide receivers, and I think that last guy on the back end of the wide receiver roster. Or depth chart had to give you something in special teams. You look at Greg Ward, would he be able to give you the kind of utilization that Mac Hollins would like as a gunner. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Matt Collins, that was one of his key
Yeah.
things coming out of college, was being that gunner, being that vertical threat, being that big body target. You think about that stiff arm he hit Kevin King with in the first preseason game when, then he got injured, and then he was injured for a while. But one other play that sticks out to me is against the Vikings when, he did a rub route and got, I believe, Zach Ertz free. There's those kind of things that utilizing his big body.
Yep.
I think they looked at that and they were like, he gives us more. He's more a well-rounded, roster spot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the future he becomes that big slot receiver that they maybe envisioned him with, maybe JJ on the outside, because it's only a matter of time before JJ's our number one receiver.
Big expectations for JJ.
Of course,
you had to throw that in there.
Of course, I had to.
Pre-show.
I don't want to start playing. I don't want to start playing Marvin Gaye right now. It's too early.
Let's get it on.
Too early for that. But, maybe Matt Collins has a future in the slot. Big slot receiver, and then all you see all over the field is 6'5" receivers, 6'4", 6'5" receivers against these 6', 6'1" corners. It's going to be a complete matchup nightmare.
I thought Holland's time was up when they acquired Rudy Ford, because Rudy Ford is he's a specialist in on the special teams.
Yep.
Yeah. So I thought it was kind of them leaning on like, okay, we'll go with Greg Ward, but I kind of understand why they didn't go with Ward, because of the whole slot receiver. You got JJ who could do it. You got Zach. You have Dallas now because they want to go 12 personnel, 13 personnel. So it kind of makes sense now. Oh yeah,
I mean, Greg Ward, I just thought, he just kept making plays. When I went to a couple of the training camp practices, he steady made plays, and all the beats were talking like, hey, this guy deserves a spot. But when you talk about what else can Greg Ward do, like that's where everyone was like, I don't know where you fit him in at,
He can play QB.
That's true.
That is true.
He could be that Wildcat offense. Could bring the Wildcat offense back and put Greg Ward back there.
He could be our Taysom Hill.
I mean, that dude was up for he was like a Heisman hopeful at one point.
Yeah.
With 4.3 speed.
He looked really shifty this preseason. He didn't look like that the years past. Like this season, like he looked like he was doing his thing and he was going above and beyond to make sure that he made the roster. I thought he had it. I thought he had it in the bag. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I think he's had this. He knows the offense. His game is a little bit more refined. I think he did his thing in the AFL recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got that hunger. And every time they try to talk about like up and coming players that are, shining, Doug Peterson always talks about Greg Ward.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it is what it is. When you're a Super Bowl ready team, it's hard to make a roster like this.
Yeah.
Well, if Hollins gets injured again, then it's wartime.
Right.
Well, the only other wide receiver they have right now, I mean, I know the practice squad still is, they still have 4 players to go, is they picked up Marcus Green from Atlanta, who's more of a kick returner than anything else, but he's a deep threat, but that's their only wide receiver on practice squad right now.
Another special teams guy.
Yeah.
I mean, last year they were terrible on special teams, a complete 180 from 2017. When they were one of the best, if not the best, special teams team out there. But last year it was that they weren't good, so I guess they had to go heavy with it this year, which I get, because their offense is good enough without the depth at certain positions that they could beef up the special teams a little bit. Whereas other teams, they got to kind of beef up their offense or their defense as a detriment to their special teams. But the Eagles have that luxury right now, which I get. But
so who's the head scratching keeps on the roster right now?
I mean, I'm actually looking at the roster right now. I want like head scratcher. I really don't have any really head scratcher keeps right for me. The guy Rudy Ford. Some might question. I think Nate Herbig. Some might call that a head scratcher, but I think Nate Herbig, he's never played center before, and now he's our backup center at this moment. He's stepped in, and everyone thought Wisniewski would be on the roster, but those snaps were a thing.
Those snaps are terrible.
I've actually posted a couple of videos of the snaps that were pretty bad, and all through camp, it's just people were actually talking about him not making the roster like probably a month ago, and here we are.
Yeah,
he's been struggling since after the Super Bowl. It's been a big struggle for him.
I think he's a great depth piece. I'd rather have him than what's his name, the guy from the Titans and Alabama, the guard.
Matt Pryor?
Not
Dennis
Pryor.
Kelly?
Nope. He got drafted in the first round by the Titans.
Got drafted in the first round by the Titans, so we have him right now?
We did have him.
We did have him. Oh, Vander or whatever?
Nope, black dude. I can't think of his name right now. But he, I'd rather. But he's going to be a depth piece for some other NFL team out there. Wisniewski.
Yeah, I don't think. I could have. Did I see the Jets got him or no? The Jets just picked up Josh Adams.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they picked him up.
I thought he went through waivers unclaimed.
Yeah, he went unclaimed, but they signed him after.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Joe Douglas is gonna start picking this.
Yeah,
he's doing his thing now.
He was like, let me see these Eagles waivers. Let me get going.
But it's all good though. Like people are like, we should have kept this player. I'm like, this team is stacked, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a quote from, I forget who was it from Roto World, was talking about the depth. We have the best fourth receiver in J.J. Arcega-Whiteside.
Second best tight end. Backup.
And then
backup tight end.
Left tackle.
And tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could even go like our running back 4 deep, and you got a Corey Clement, who's your fourth running back, or third, fourth, whatever you want to look. If you want to put Sproles, mix and match, whatever. That's how deep this squad is.
It's a really deep team.
Clement could probably start for a few teams.
Oh yeah, hands down.
If not be the lead backup. I mean, you look at the Chargers; they're not going to have Melvin Gordon. They're not doing anything. Niners need running back help. McKinnon's out for the whole year. Yeah. They got Tevin Coleman, but he's a rotational guy too. He's not a full-time. He's not a 3-down back.
They got Breida.
Breida's good. I wanted Breida on the Eagles when they were trying to fix that whole running back situation last year. I was a big Breida guy.
Yeah.
But he can definitely, and he's our fourth running back, like you said. So that depth is. I mean, I feel like Clement's gonna have more snaps than Sproles, so I feel like he's gonna definitely be more RB3. Because I can't see Sproles taking that many meaningful snaps other than punt returning.
No, they're gonna want to maintain him for the whole season, so they gotta kind of like.
If you look how they used him at the end of the season, Sproles really did flash, and he scored 2 touchdowns in the last 2 games of the season. That's when he was healthy. I mean, you start thinking about like he was coming off an ACL. Like people don't realize,
and a broken arm.
Yeah, I mean, like it takes you about 2 years to get back to real like normal movements after an ACL.
Yeah.
So I feel like Sproles, he gives you that juice, can block.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You can't see him down by the goal line. So I mean, the depth is crazy.
he's hiding back there behind those 6'5" guys. He's like, you can't see me, and then bam, let's pick up right
out of nowhere.
He's tiny, dude, but he's still got that juice, man. Like he gets a lot of hate though. I've seen a lot of Sproles hate on the timeline.
Especially lately when everybody's like, "Oh, let's get LaShawn McCoy, cut Sproles, get Sproles out of here. We didn't want McCoy." I'm like,
Shady didn't make sense.
How disrespectful are you?
Like I was having this conversation with somebody in the DMs. He was asking me like how I felt about the situation. I was like, in theory, I would love like the whole reunion aspect of Shady. Yeah. Is Shady better than Sproles? Like in theory, I would pick McCoy, but in reality, Darren Sproles is a guy, high energy guy, sets the tone in practice. He's a guy that's could be in the ear of Miles Sanders. Like really a guy to like set the tone for the running back group, let alone set the tone of practice. Yep. Saw an article about Wentz going through his trials and tribulations. There was one guy who got in his ear, that was Sproles, who set him in the right direction. So a guy like that's like the Yoda in your locker.
Same size and everything.
Same size. You will run the ball. You will. I think it's like having Sproles is the coaches love him, but McCoy is a loved by the fan base, but he also brings a little baggage. And he ruined Endgame. I still have not.
Seen Endgame. That was. That
Once he ruined it for me, I didn't go watch it. I still haven't seen Endgame because I'm that pissed.
That's wild.
I just watched it for the second time. I went by myself the first time because my wife was like, "I'm not paying money to go see that damn movie." And then I forced her to. Once it came out on Google Play, I was like, "That's it. You're sitting here for 3 hours. You got no choice because you're pregnant, so you can't really move around anyway. So man. You got to stay laying down. We're watching 3 hours of Endgame." She's like, and she started.
You can sit down online.
Oh, you want me? Yeah, no, it's rented. Yeah, you can rent it.
No, well, I think Gayle's talking about the Fire Stick.
No, you don't need to bootleg it.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's
maybe I'll watch it this week. I'm still mad about that. That's a character flaw, Shady McCoy.
It's $6. It's $6 on Google Play instead of $20 at AMC Lowe's. You save some money there. It's just sit down, grab some beer, and just grab your couch. 3 hours.
Are you getting a little sponsorship thing from there? I mean,
yeah. So
full blown commercial for the
Marvel. You got my Venmo, right?
So speaking about the running backs, I got to get your opinion on this, Gayle. Miles Sanders. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it right there.
Miles Sanders. And I'm going to come back to the real deal. And I got that from Deuce Staley himself. I saw Deuce Staley at the Eagles Autism Challenge. I said, hey, like randomly, all these, first of all, go next year, go to the Eagles Autism
I want to go to that.
Amazing event. You get to meet everyone. I'm talking about everyone.
I'm a former teacher of I've used to at my old district. My whole school was kids with autism. It was great. So I definitely want to do that.
It was a great event, and I seen Staley, and I was like, look, I gotta get your opinion on Miles Sanders. Is he the real deal? And he looked at me like seriously, like a son would look at their father would look at their son like. He's like, Miles Sanders is the real deal. And I was like, say no more. He's like, he's legit, and then he's a guy that I was looking at coming out of Penn State. I thought he was the guy that had the most. I didn't want to draft a running back high, but I thought he was a guy in range that had the three down traits, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
He sat behind Saquon Barkley, didn't have a lot of miles on his legs, and I thought he had some juice. And the jump cut is serious.
Yeah, that jump cut was pretty epic.
So, do you think with Jordan Howard here, we got the next coming of Deuce Staley and Brian Westbrook, Correll Buckhalter, and Brian Westbrook?
He's grinning right now. Hold on, he's grinning.
He could be the next Shady. It could be a Deuce Staley and Shady combination.
Yeah.
Those are some big expectations. I'm getting a little high and heavy over here.
Two different generations there.
So that I had to double down, because I went to the open one of the private camps, and I was like, yo, where is Jimmy Kempski? I found Jimmy Kempski. Me and Kempski are watching. I'm like, I'm just in his ear for like good 40 minutes. I'm just like, yo, tell me about Miles Sanders. And he's like the most explosive back on this roster. He said he should be starting by week 1.
Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was starting by week 4. week 4 or
Okay.
5. If he starts flashing like the way that we expect him to, he kept flashing that jump cut all through training camp. I posted one of the jump cuts in practice, and Saquon Barkley actually retweeted it. And then
So he knows the deal.
yeah, so Miles Sanders retweeted it too. But I was like, I really think that his ability on the outside zones, he's a guy that can create on his own. You got Jordan Howard to pound it away in the inside zones. That's a real, Jordan Howard is not the sexiest thing, but those 4-yard push the pocket type runs, move the chains.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we need, and we didn't have a running back to consistently get to the edge like a Miles Sanders. So I think having that kind of skill set in this offense, when you think in terms of protecting Carson Wentz from harm, we have a legit running game. Josh Adams, we just talked about him, is on the Jets, and he just got picked up. That was our leading rusher last year. So,
Yeah.
I know he was our leading rusher, but at the same time, everybody else was hurt. So someone had to
by default.
Someone had to lead the team in rushing, But yeah, I agree with you. As much as I pain, I don't want to get OT tweets exposed right now, but as much as I hate to admit it, I love the Ryan Matthews signing, and when we got DeMarco Murray, I was excited for that, but just Chip Kelly used him the wrong way.
Oh yeah, terrible.
But we had backs like we have now in our system, they were just used wrong, and Ryan Matthews just getting hurt all the time. And fumbling the ball. I don't want to talk about that game where he fumbled the ball right at the end.
The Lions game?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But, we had that talent, but I feel like this is finally the year that we have the talent, we have the scheme for them, and we have the talent that comes with the health, too. Like Howard doesn't get hurt. Knock on wood. I don't want to start jinxing him. Sanders doesn't get hurt. We have guys now that can play all 16 games and finally give Wentz and Peterson more than anybody, the confidence to turn and hand the ball off, whereas having Wentz throwing the ball 50 to 60 times a game.
Even if you go back to Wendell Smallwood, you talked about Smallwood. There are times during the season where he dropped, I believe it was the Vikings game where he dropped the ball in the wings, and those kind of opportunities, Wentz is like afraid to go back to him. Go back to the Panthers. The Panthers game. It's right down by the goal line. He's wide open. He doesn't go back there because he doesn't trust Wendell Smallwood. Like you have a natural hands catcher like Miles Sanders. It could add really different elements to our screen game too, as well. And they've been using Miles Sanders and Darren Sproles in the backfield at the same time.
Oh wow, that's me interesting.
With Sproles out at slot, and they motion him into come on now.
Don't get me started with that.
You saw
double
Chris's
screen
face.
game.
Man, I'm gonna have to get another beer to calm myself down.
Wow. So countless times. Go ahead.
There's so many options for this offense. Like not even trying to get into the whole flipping the birds after dark situation here, but it's just there's so many options. Like it's really, who are you gonna double? Who are you gonna really focus on this offense? If let's say the Redskins with Mr. Wendell Smallwood's going over there right now, giving away our secrets. On defense, they got Josh Norman, they got Landon Collins, they got Ryan Kerrigan. The only one person I'm scared over there of is Ryan Kerrigan. But who are they going to focus on this offense? There's no one that you can double, because once you double someone else who's just as explosive, if not more explosive, is wide open for Wentz to get to him.
Yeah, and when I'm talking about it, I'm getting goosebumps and I'm getting chills. I'm like, oh my God, because you make total sense, and they love to put that shell over Zach Ertz. Hey, we know Carson Wentz like to eye bang Zach Ertz, but when you have Zach Ertz that you can move in motion, you can keep Goddard in line. Zach Ertz has shown his ability to win one-on-one matchups against safeties. If you want to put that shell over Zach Ertz, then who gets left on the one-on-ones is Alshon Jeffrey, a 50-50 monster. And then to keep the safeties back with the jab, you have Deshaun Jackson. So, like, go ahead. If you want to step up in the pocket, respect the seams, well, then we're going to burn you up top. We're going to go over the top. And I think it's the ability to have that kind of options. And we didn't even mention, Thegatron. You know what I mean? Like, once JJ gets up to par, that's another guy who can move the chains. And you saw that.
And Aggie.
Ravens.
We're leaving out Aggie. We're leaving out Aggie.
He's an
a secret weapon.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when you think about all our weapons, like guys like Alshon and Aguilar are afterthoughts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're thinking like, oh, two tight end sets. And then you can even throw D-check. They're kind of like afterthoughts. But it's like so many weapons.
Yeah, we have a lot of people on this team that could be number 1, number 2 options on other teams, and there are number 3, 4, 5 options. It's crazy.
And I had posed this question to my 4th and Jawn guys. I was like, do you guys think that does Wentz have to have like an MVP type season to like put up crazy numbers, or does he just have to be a game manager and just
I think he just has to be a game manager at this point.
Yeah, just take what the defense gives you, and why not?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he's going to have to make things happen. Like, things are going to happen for him. He just has to
trust the offense,
stay upright, and trust the routes, trust everything up, and be able to just deliver it with what the defense gives him. It's not going to be like years past where he's had to come out of a pile of offensive tackles and defensive tackles, and all of them show up, or like that Seattle game when he was rushed out the pocket and he made that crazy throw to Aguilar. He doesn't have to do those things. He just has to sit in the pocket, let the defense, dictate where he's going to throw. Because whatever's going to happen, someone dynamic's going to be open.
He just has to sling it at this point.
The other thing with the RPOs, I was thinking the other day, like back like last year, like you run an RPO, they're like we were running RP nose because we had no real run threat. Like, like you're going to hand the ball off to Josh Adams, who he's not really going to pound it inside. And he might miss the hole on the outside. So, I mean, but go ahead. Like, it's not a threat because we know you're going to come over top. But now you're going to put the ball in the belly of Jordan Howard, who might ground and pound it, or a guy like Miles Sanders, who might break it. So now you have to respect the run. Then you're going to want to, you play the numbers game and you start to stack the box, and we're going to hit you over on these slants upside your head with Alshon all day. So come on, man. Come on.
It's loaded. It's a loaded team. So on this podcast, me and Chris have kind of, I don't want to say preached because that might be an over exaggeration of what we've done with this. But just to get your opinion, we feel like the team, it's not a perfect roster, but this team actually up and down, it doesn't really have like a dire weakness right now. Like not even at defensive end if you actually think about it. So what do you think about that?
No, I believe they're a well-rounded team. They're a really well-rounded unit. I think if you want to if you really want to nitpick, even people will go to linebackers. But then if you talk about the big nickel, having Malcolm Jenkins or maybe a Cyprian play linebacker, you're still those are quality players that can play versatile positions. That's crazy to have Malcolm Jenkins in this defense. It's a godsend because he's a chess piece.
Yep.
And then you have Dak Brown, who's crazy against the run. He's at the end of the day, I think he's a guy that's turned it on later, like that. Veterans in preseason and training camp, kind of like I've been here, done that. But when the game is on, he can shut down the run.
We have a healthy Nigel too as well, and TJ Edwards.
TJ Edwards.
Yeah. Shout out to TJ Edwards.
He's a monster.
That's right.
I know your boy Thomas was excited.
Yeah,
he was. Yep.
Yeah,
he definitely was, and now that being at the game on Thursday, my wife was like, "Whose name do you keep saying? Whose name do you keep saying over and over and over?" As my wife comes in right now, whose name do you keep? And I go, his name's Alex Singleton, and then he comes out with 15 tackles, and then he gets cut. I'm like, oh shit! And then everybody's saying, even Thomas said, and Liam, they were like, we think he goes back to Calgary. I'm like, but what if they give him the Nate Sudfeld treatment?
Mm-hmm.
Nate Sudfeld, when they got him from Washington, they guaranteed him an NFL salary, and he was going to be on the practice squad. I feel, if they're going to do that to him, then he's going to make more money than he would be in the CFL, even though obviously he would play more in the CFL. But for him to get a legitimate shot in the NFL, I feel like this is his shot, and that's what the Eagles did. They gave him that salary to get him here, and he's really the next man up. He's really if someone in the linebacking core goes down, Alex Singleton's up, or
And
even
Bradham's
maybe,
not fully healthy yet.
or even maybe special teams. If someone in the special teams goes down, they could bring Singleton up, and him and Hollins and Ford as gunners. That's crazy. With Iron Leg Johnston pinning them down at the 5-yard line.
Yeah, I think he's on steroids. I think Johnston has to check. Have you seen that dude in person, dude?
No.
He's
ripped.
He's got pipes, man. I'm like, dude, you're a punter, man. What are you? It's crazy.
With the team being so well rounded right now, the past couple episodes we've actually gone over what our predictions are for the season. We're deep into the playoffs right now. I think before we bring you into our playoff bracket right now, before you come into our world, what's your expectations for the team this season, record-wise? I would say.
For those who know me, know that I hate to do predictions. I don't like to speak negativity into existence. But since I'm gonna be forced, because I get forced to do this every year, I'm looking at the schedule now. Like I really think, games that could be interesting. Like the Packers game, in Lambeau, it's a different beast. You look at the Giants game. I'm being forced here at the end of the season. Season's wrapped up. You catch the L there maybe. And then I know at the Seahawks, Russell Wilson is the difference maker.
He's 3-0 against the Eagles.
He's made some amazing plays, and then it could go either way with the Cowboys or the Patriots. But I'm looking 12-4 if I'm really being pushed. I think I probably say the same record every year. Just keep it 100.
Political.
But I don't like to cast L's here. But I think, looking at the schedule, I can't see more than 4 L's. But, injuries happen,
It's haunted us the past couple seasons.
If the team is feeling themselves, like Dream Team-esque, if they're feeling themselves and they're not battle-tested, I think, that'll be a problem. I think, this team has not even played together in the preseason yet.
Mm-hmm.
So to really see them gel, it could take a couple games. But once they get firing on all cylinders, I could see them making a run like in the Super Bowl, on the way to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, where they got hot. Like the team was hot. I think if they get off to a hot start, that's even better. You know what I mean? But like, I do see this team as a Super Bowl contender. Like I've been saying it, and I'm not afraid to say it. Like people are like, oh, don't say. Like we're past that, Eagle fans. Like,
we're champs.
we're at a point where, like, I had asked on our last 4th of July show. I was like, or 2 shows ago, I was talking about like Patriot fans expect the Patriots to go to the Super Bowl every year.
Mm-hmm.
Every year. It's not even I grew up in Connecticut. Like, Patriot fans expect the Patriots to go every year. Not back in the day when I lived there, but now they do. And it's no question, and I think when you have this kind of roster and this kind of depth, there's no reason why they should put on a heavy run and stack up wins.
I mean, that's kind of how we felt too. We hate giving losses, but you got to be realistic. You're not getting a 16-0 season. I
don't know. I mean, Madden, I did 16-0, and I finished my season, Gayle. I finished before the season started.
Did you?
I did 16-0, and then Super Bowl win over the Chiefs, but no LeSean McCoy.
Didn't Wentz have 64 touchdown passes?
He had 64 touchdown passes, and I had Ertz, Jeffrey, and Jackson over 1,000 yards.
Wow, this guy.
Super not ideal.
What about Goddard? Did Goddard get any love?
I try to show him love, man, but D Jackson and Depot was just like every time.
No, yeah. I started the. I'm still in preseason. I just started. I'm in preseason week 1, and I sit there. No lie, I played practice mode for probably like a month before I even play the game, because I'm a nerd. I sit there, run the same play, get plays that break down like all different defenses, and I just sit there. I got problems, so if you got to have a counselor I could talk to, I should just go ahead and play the season. But I'll get there.
I don't have the game yet. I've been waiting to win one of these contests.
You're not giving up on that.
Oh, you're trying to get a freebie.
Yeah, I have to. These teachers, they don't get paid that much. It's
maybe we'll start a GoFundMe.
There we go.
Get you a Madden.
GoFundMe, $60. Let's go.
It's all gravy.
Yeah, but so right now we had them both 13-3. We had them as the first overall seed. We had the second seed being the Saints, third seed being the Rams, fourth seed being the Packers, fifth seed being the Seahawks, and the sixth seed being the Cowboys.
I like that.
And with Zeke, all those reports that Zeke's going to be back, so they kind of put them in the playoffs because he's their MVP. If it was just Dak back there or Tony Pollard, they wouldn't be doing anything. But so we both had Rams over Cowboys in the first round, and I think I had the Packers over the Seahawks, and he had the Seahawks over the Packers.
Mm.
And then I had the Eagles over the Rams. He had Eagles over the Rams, and I think he had. Did you have Seahawks over Saints or Saints over Seahawks?
No, I have Saints over Seahawks because I'm very bitter towards Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, so we both had Saints versus the Eagles NFC Championship game, just so Malcolm Jenkins can wear a ski mask under his helmet and slam Kamara on the ground for all that shit talking that he's been doing.
Give him a cook special.
I'd rather see him do Sheldon Brown on Reggie Bush special.
That as well.
Or Alvin Kamara.
On Alvin Kamara, yep.
Yeah. I mean, I just watching Alvin Kamara, I'm like, man, he's such I'm not gonna say generational, but I think he's
special.
Yes.
He is special, but he's like, the evolution of the running back position. That's when you look at Kamara, you look at that's what the running backs look like these days.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So and plus he went in the third round, right? Third round, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I think drafting running backs high is not something I like to do.
But we got Miles Sanders.
That's right. Well,
I love that pick, man.
I was doing the draft with I was watching the draft with Adrian from Bitterbirds, and he's like, "Who are we gonna pick second round?" I was like, "Miles Sanders." He's like, "What?" And then he got picked, and I felt like they had to respect the run game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little higher than most people like, but they had to respect.
It was meant to be.
They had to respect it, man, because they needed some kind of push. You know what I mean? But I'm all for this offense getting off to a hot start. You know what I mean? Like you look at last year, the issues that they started off slow in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
You look at that Super Bowl year they were like number 2 in scoring in the first quarter.
They were just firing off.
Last year, they were second to last. And then the funny thing is, like we talked about that whole Frank Reich thing. The Colts jumped in scoring in the first quarter as soon as Reich got there.
I don't know how that's going to look this year, but it's going to be a little different this year with Jacoby Brissett back there.
How about that, man?
It's unfortunate, man.
I think that's a low key. You're trying to say something about my fantasy because I had drafted Andrew Luck. You try to is that like an ill segue? You trying to
I have to ask you though, who's your other quarterback?
I roll with one quarterback.
Ooh.
Oh,
That's how I do it. That's how I do it.
How the waivers treat you?
I picked up Mitchell Trubisky, and then Garoppolo. If anybody in the Fourth and Jawn League is listening, he might be other guy I might target. But right now, I'm just rolling with Mitch Trubisky.
All right.
So, see how it goes.
David Montgomery might do good for him. You know, he might open things up for a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know, you're gonna have to sit him when he faces the Eagles, though.
I have Zeke too.
Oh.
They laugh. They're like, I drafted Zeke at the 10th spot. Like, yo, I'm picking him up. I don't care what team he plays for. And then for depth, I picked up Lamar Miller too.
Oh man.
So I am rebounding in that league. It's all good because I'm well versed.
It's a process.
You got to trust the process. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
That's right.
So you got to think ahead of time. Like I drafted LaShawn McCoy, knowing that he was going to get released, and now where is he at with the Chiefs? So
Big Red.
There you go. So if we had Eagles Saints NFC Championship game, truly, knowing the Saints offense right now, and they just got Kiko Alonso in a trade today. So I was honestly hoping if we were getting shady, I was hoping they would sign Kiko too, just so we could get both players from that trade and the ultimate, middle finger to Chip Kelly for that.
Cincinnati,
man.
Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
He's in the Cincinnati, Chip Kelly.
No, he's UCLA.
No, I'm saying they lost to Cincinnati.
They lost to Cincinnati. Oh, yeah. Okay.
They lost to Roseman's college, right? Howie Roseman's college, if I'm not mistaken.
Did he go there? I think
he went to Cincinnati.
Didn't Roseman go to Florida?
I think so. Let me see.
Oh no, he went to Florida. You're right.
Who went to Cincinnati? They were talking about. Like I read about it too.
Jason Kelsey went to
Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yeah, because everybody thought that the Eagles would kick the tires on the guy that got released from the Jets, Polite.
Not Polite. Yeah,
because he's from Florida, and they're like, Howie Roseman loves the Florida players.
Probably got the intel already.
Yeah. That's right. He got the inside scoop.
Guys had mad red flags too.
Yeah.
Chicago play.
Yeah, but so their defense is obviously better. They still got Cam Jordan. They got cornerbacks who like to jump routes.
Lattimore.
Yeah. They still got loudmouth Kamara, even though they lost
Mark
Ingram. Right. So they got Mr. Jump Ball, Michael can't guard Mike. I in my own completely unbiased opinion, definitely unbiased, I think the Eagles will win.
I think it'll be a close game, though.
Definitely.
I think it's also you got to think about that. Last time we played them, we lost Brandon Brooks. That offense just shut down for like a couple quarters. I think Fletcher Cox got hurt. We had like Josh. We
were breaking down.
You could say Josh Hawkins, and like 98% of the league wouldn't know who Josh Hawkins was. But that's the kind of guys that we had in the back end of the roster playing. C.D. Jones hurt that game, but I think I'm not gonna I love Drew Brees. I love his accuracy. I love his moxie. I love Alvin Kamara. I love Mike Thomas. I like Marcus Lattimore. There's a lot of good players. Ramczyk. Just a lot of guys that they finally put together. They hit on a lot of draft picks the last 2 years that have made this roster what it is. And I think they got a good thing going, but I think if you get, you get them in the Lincoln Financial Field at the end of the season, in the cold weather, it's a different beast. And I think, oh man, my heart hurts, man. I might have a heart attack or some shit.
We'll put you on the spot.
Because they're so like I have my hopes are so high for the season.
Yeah.
That I can't wait for the season to start, but I just see really big things.
Yep.
I'm just trying not to have a heart attack this season.
It wouldn't be an Eagles season without people having heart attacks.
At least one or two.
That's how they do it, especially late game. Late game, they 2 minutes to go. So I think like a couple of these games, like the Lions game, it's definitely going to be Lions ball with 2 minutes to go, and we're up by like 4, and we got to stop Matt Stafford from scoring a touchdown. Same thing with the Patriots game. There's going to be a few like just us on the edge of our seats, on the floor, on the ground, on our knees, like stop them, because that's what the Eagles do. We saw it in the Carolina game last year. We saw it in the Titans game. It's just they love doing that to us.
Yeah, I'm so anxious to see what this defense looks like together as a whole, because we yet to see them with the, like I like to say, form like Voltron. Once you get Cox in there, you got, our starting linebackers there, Nigel Bradham, a little healthier. It's going to be crazy to see all of them together, and what kind of pressure they're going to get with Malik Jackson and Fletcher Cox pushing the pocket.
And a healthy Brandon Graham, healthy Derek Barnett.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
A healthy Deshaun Hall. Let's not forget about him.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah. See what he does in the season, though.
Yeah, he's had we got 6 defensive ends, man. That's
gonna be a healthy rotation.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna be fresh.
I was still hoping. I was still hoping that Chris Long would, try and. But he sounds like he's happy being retired.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like, especially his latest tweets. When he's been back and forth with some people on Twitter. That was great. That was hilarious.
Yeah, he's being direct.
Yeah, and he was like, if there's snaps to go around, why tell a guy who's more productive? Yeah, that's not the case. He's not so subtle,
he's patting his back while he was tweeting. No, but he's a savvy veteran, and I think
he's right.
At the end of the day, he's made all that money. He wants to play.
Yeah.
But if I don't even want to say it, but if there are injuries, I think he's a guy that you can call. But he did also fess up that he likes to smoke weed. So he might get hit with some kind of
random drug test.
Random drug test.
Random drug test. So if he's clean, I would bring him back, though.
Brian, you got the Eagles in the Super Bowl?
I got the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
I think we have to at this point.
We have to.
It's like it's weird because it's not expectation like Super Bowl or bust, but it's kind of like Gayle was saying earlier, like Patriots fans expect the team to be in the Super Bowl every year. And I think the new norm that Doug Peterson was kind of trying to iterate to the fan base was, this is it. Like, expect us to be here in the dance every year.
And it's completely different from Dallas. Like, Dallas fans, they expect to be hit to the Super Bowl every year just because they're Dallas and they did it in 95.
That's just marketing material for them.
That's just them. They haven't done shit since 95. Us, we just did it 2 years ago, and we still have the same personnel, pretty much. So why not?
Yeah, and if you listen to Joe Douglas, a guy who's well respected, he didn't even say it like he was trying to hide it. It was like pretty nonchalant. It's like, this is the most talented team that I've seen here, and he saw the Super Bowl team, and then Zach Ertz doubled down on the same mindset. He said, "This is the most stacked roster I have seen since I've been there, better than the Super Bowl team." So it's interesting. Like being an old head, air quotes. It's weird to be like, I haven't seen a roster like this stacked in a while. Like the same vibes I was getting in 2004, the Super Bowl run, when they just added pieces, and I'm like, this team's gonna blow teams out. Like, I felt that good. And even when we went in 2017, like, I was like, this team's going to win a Super Bowl. And people are like, yo, it's like week 8, chill, fam. I was like, I've seen enough Eagles football to know that this roster is different. The mentality is different. The whole vibe and energy is different. And that's like, if they get hot at the right time, that's what it's all about.
That's right. Who's your AFC opponent?
I don't even care.
Bring them all.
You could say the Chiefs. You could say the Chiefs, man. Or
I think it's the Chiefs.
That would be nice.
You could say the Patriots. You could see.
Patriots are done. Yeah.
Gronkowski is gonna come back. Watch. But if you think about the Patriots, their division makes it so easy for them.
I know it's a winning division every year.
They get play 3 opponents in their division, and they get two wins from each of them.
Yep,
that's half the battle right there.
They got 6 freebies, except Tom Brady doesn't really like playing in Miami. He's not very good in Miami.
Yeah,
I don't know if that'll be the case this year because Miami's just trading everybody this year.
I just never count the Patriots out. I think they do stuff that most organizations don't. Whether it's getting comp picks, flipping players, or not paying players and letting other teams pay them, getting the comp picks, drafting running back in the first round. They do stuff that drafting 2 tight ends when everyone was like, why would you draft Gronkowski and Hernandez? Or like utilize a guy like Cordell Patterson. Like they just use players to their full abilities and they make things happen. But that's enough of me talking about it. Patriots.
You're gonna send them to cardiac arrest right now.
I'm just giving props where they're due. But
so, any final expectations that you want to get off your chest?
Well, I was going to ask you. We have we made a bold predictions article in July, and we'll see if you have a bold prediction too. Brian's was that Goddard would lead the team in touchdowns out of everybody.
Interesting. I like that.
Mine was Derek Barnett has 12 sacks.
Wow. Okay, I had him at 8 sacks last season.
I think it's time. It's the Barnett breakout.
We're going to see a lot of the Barnett bend, I think.
Yeah.
I think, biggest prediction would probably be Miles Sanders starting by like week 4. And I think
I respect that one.
Deshaun Jackson breakout season. Well, I mean, can we say a reborn season? The rebirth?
The reboot.
The rebirth of Deshaun Jackson. I could see a real breakout season. Can you have a breakout season at the age of like 33? Is that possible?
I don't see why not, right?
Yeah, why not?
I just think he's gonna show some juice. But yeah, I think those are probably the 2 ones. And I like the Goddard one. Like last year, he put up some production. I had one called back. Let's not.
That one.
That dumb-ass pass interference. I mean, was that the same game that was like the non-fumble call?
Yeah. Let me be clear. We got robbed of that.
Completely.
So if Deshaun has a big year, it'll be his first 1,000-yard season since 2016. And if that Goddard has 10 touchdowns, that'll be our first double-digit touchdown since 2014.
Yeah. I really, there's so many players that can break out this season. It's going to be incredible.
Well, it's going to be a really good season, and we really look forward to it. And hopefully, at some point, we actually can link up again with you, Gayle.
Yes, sir.
Whether it's in
Anytime.
person, whether it's having you on the podcast again.
You guys are both welcome to the 4th of Jawn tailgate. Everyone out there. That's what it's about. It's about meeting good Eagle fans, diehards, not just regular Eagle fans, diehards.
That's right.
When you talk to them, and the snot is dripping out of their nose, they just keep going and talking about the Eagles like they're so in depth. That's what we do. But it's all about bringing Eagle fans together. And thank you for having me on your podcast.
Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate you, man. We really appreciate you.
Anytime, let me know.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So if you're listening to us for the first time, just please don't forget to subscribe, to rate, to comment, to give us all your feedback, whether it's good or bad, whether you're into Chris's aphrodisiac recipe that he has going on, whatever case may be. And we look forward to talking to you guys next week.
That's right. We, again, like Gayle said, we do it for the fans. You guys, we appreciate you all. 2 guys from Jersey just talking about the Birds every week, and you guys have given us more plays every week and more downloads every week since we started. So we really appreciate it, and we hope to have Gayle on again sometime soon. We're lucky enough. This is our 6th episode, 7th episode, and we got Gayle on our 7th episode. Like people wait for years. People wait for years to have people like Gayle on these podcasts. So thank you, Gayle, for coming on, and thank you for all for listening. Like Brian said, subscribe to us. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spreaker, and let us know what you think. And we'll talk to you on Twitter soon.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.